This testimony, I want to talk about being a single mother and raising neurodiverse children. Motherhood is hard all by itself with one kid, let alone multiple. But it seriously takes a very special person to raise children when your children struggle with maybe mental health or they have a physical health condition or disease or illness, or they are neurodiverse. To be neurodiverse means that your brain is wired differently. You are processing things differently. You learn differently than the average or typical person. And so there might be behaviors or certain things that you do that might seem a little off or odd or different because it's not common, but it's just because you process and you learn and are wired differently to think differently, to learn differently. I have more than one child who is neurodiverse, and it hasn't been easy. Okay, let me just say that. But I'm grateful to God because He's keeping me even right now. He's keeping me. And I don't cease praying. I pray with them, I pray for them. It's been extremely hard, especially what we deal with specifically is ADHD. ADHD, there's been situations in the past where they've experienced things where there's been added trauma and, PTSD and anxiety and stuff like that. God has really helped me to raise them in such a way, like with a spirit of excellence. I'm telling you, like, all glory be to God. He's kept me. He's helped me to keep my peace, my sanity, my joy in parenting. And because at one point, I was just like, had such negative. I remember one Mother's Day, I just had, like, I didn't feel like a good mom. Why am I celebrating Mother's Day? Why am I celebrating this? Like, I'm struggling in motherhood and parenting my kids. I'm struggling to raise them. I'm struggling with their behaviors and stuff like that. And it's just seemed like such a battle and a fight. And I was exhausted and tired. And I'm like, I didn't even want to celebrate. I'm like, this is a struggle. It's hard. It could get like that at times. And I'm grateful to God that He's really renewed my mind and has grown me to find and helped me to be able to find the joys in motherhood and in parenting again, to find the little things about my kids that I love, to spend quality time with them, to invest in them, them to learn their triggers, their behaviors, and what helps them and what scares them and what encourages them and how to help them transition different things. Like, the good thing I would say about, or the joy I would say about raising neurodiverse children is every day is different. They're so unique, they're so different in their own way. They're such a joy, and they're so gifted and talented, and just really nurturing their gifts and showing them that they can do things, and that they don't have to live in fear or be afraid or allow past experiences and trauma to hinder them, and just guiding them through day-to-day life is such a blessing. And just showing them that you are not your diagnosis. That is not you. That is not who you are. You just experience certain symptoms. You think differently, you learn differently, but that does not define you. That's just something you are experiencing. And even in that, I know that God is an intentional God. Even through their experience, it's going to be a testimony, whether they are healed, delivered, um, everything that they do and accomplish, and being an inspiration to others who might have the same diagnosis, other kids, to see, hey, they're doing this and they have that, or they were diagnosed with this, I can do it too. Like, whatever God has for them, He's going to get the glory. They are not their diagnosis. They're bigger, and God created them for greater. And I never want them to use that as an excuse for why they can't do something, or why they are making it as an excuse for why they are doing something that they know they shouldn't be doing. But I definitely want them to better understand themselves. And as a parent, it really helps you become like kind of like a expert in your kids and each individual one and how they are just in general. All of your kids, regardless, you should be learning them. But when there's extra complications, like you really have to study, you really have to better understand. And even now, I'm still learning what this diagnosis is. How does it affect the way that they sleep? How does it affect the way that they eat, their diet, like it literally every area of their lives it can affect and hinder or alter their way of doing things. And so you have to become somewhat of like an expert a little bit in the diagnosis and how the symptoms and everything specifically affects each individual child, because one child might be diagnosed with the same thing, but they might still their 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 experiences and how they think and express things still can be completely different from the next child. So you have to become an expert. You have to take the time to really understand the diagnosis. And like I said, I am still learning as we speak. And you just have to be patient with yourself and with your kids. You don't have to be a perfect parent. They don't have to be perfect kids, but y'all can both progress. We can all progress together as a family and just be the best and stay rooted and founded in God and know that He's with us, He sees us, and that even in this diagnosis or whatever symptoms or thing you might be experiencing, that, you know, God's going to get the glory out of it. He can heal you if that's his desire, or he can use that diagnosis to show people that, hey, it don't matter what the world, what doctors say you have, I still have purpose for your life, and you're going to accomplish and do everything that I've said you can do, no matter what they're saying. And I think this is just something that's going to bring, you know, them closer to God and help them to rely on him and really just change their life. But some of the things that I've struggled with is, once again, like the behaviors, kind of the emotional up and downs. You know, sometimes it can be unpredictable, and sometimes I can already be exhausted. So to have to deal with that, deal with fighting or arguing, having to hold and physically restrain and stuff like that, it could be exhausting. I just take it one day at a time, moment by moment, and I'm praying through it all. And God is really, through his word, through just reading the scriptures and meditating on it and constant and unceasing prayer, he's brought me here today. Trust me, I do not look like the things that I've been through. My children do not look like what they've been through. But all glory be to God. We're here today. And it takes a very special parent, a very special person, very patient person, compassionate, understanding, empathetic. Like it takes a very special person to raise neurodiverse or neurodivergent children. And I'm honored to be one of those parents. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this was inspiring to someone who might be experiencing the same thing. Don't quit. You do not have to be a perfect parent. Each day is going to be different. Your children are going to have their days. Just keep remaining patient. You know, maybe surround yourself with a community, because there are so many other parents you wouldn't even know that are experiencing the same behaviors or similar behaviors, or maybe their kid has the same diagnosis as your kid. So there's so many support groups. There's so many local support groups and things like that, or online support groups where you can surround yourself with communities to stay encouraged, and definitely stay in the Word of God and know that God sees you. Everything that you're experiencing, your child is experiencing, God sees it, and he loves you, and he's with you, and he will continue to give you the strength to persevere and endure. And if it be in his will, continue to pray for healing, continue to pray for deliverance for yourself, for your children. But even if he doesn't do it on this side, know that he still loves you and that there's a purpose and a plan for all that he does. So thank you so much for tuning in to this quick testimony. I'm grateful to be able to share my experience with raising my children. Just continue to pray for me as I will you. Have a good one. Bye.